Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to my first ever speed build video. So if you're new here, I normally make stop motion videos of these builds. So this build I've actually already made a stop motion video for, which I'll link at the top. If you're more interested in stop motion videos and that's why you're on my channel and you've subscribed to my channel, don't worry, I'm still making stop motion builds. I just thought, seeing as I've recorded the footage of me building this house, I might as well make it into a speed build for you. Anyway, moving on to talk about the actual house. This house has 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, and it's built in Newcrest on the Midtown Meadows lot, which is a 40 by 30. Now this house has no CC. I don't build with any CC normally. Sometimes I use gallery art, but in this build I didn't use gallery art because I thought I might start a save file. So let me know if you're interested in that. You'll see here I did actually just place down a gallery art garage door on that wall, but I do go back and change that later on. So I did have a family in mind when I was building this house. I tend to make my family first these days just because then I find it easier to decorate the inside, and I've kind of got an idea of like their skills and their interests and what I want in the house before I start, and I just feel like it makes it so much easier. So for this house, the family is a family of 5. There's 2 children, 1 teenager and then 2 adults. And the dad is a teacher and the mum is a florist. So later on you'll see me build her a little outbuilding by the pool, which is her kind of florist room and also a little office, so she had some clients, she could go and speak to them, and then she's got her like workspace next to it. Obviously if you've got a family that don't have those jobs, then that's fine. All you've really got to change is the outbuilding out the back, which you can make into a pool house because that's kind of what it looks like anyway. But let's talk about what I'm doing now. So I'm making platform steps up to the front door, and this took me the longest time to figure out when platforms were first released. I couldn't get my head around how people were having a foundation and still being able to use the platform steps, because if you use a foundation you have to have a gap between platforms, and it took me so long to figure this out. So if you don't know how to do it, what you've got to do is you've got to put your walls on a higher setting than what you want. So if you want short walls, put them on medium and then raise the inside up to the level you want the outside to be, if that makes sense. And then you don't have to use a foundation at all, but on the inside you'll still have short walls and you'll be able to put the steps up to the platform. It is easy when you know how to do it, but I just couldn't figure it out. But anyway, let's talk about the outside of this house. I wanted it to be quite clean, quite simple on the outside, so I didn't want to go overboard on the landscaping. So you'll see in a minute I placed down these objects which are from the live edit menu, which I'll put the cheats in the description that you need to use to access it. Or even better, if you can have mods on your computer, if you get the Better Build By mod by Twisted Mexi, it is just amazing because it categorizes all the debug and live edit, and it's great. But anyway, I'm going to place down these items, and they're kind of like grass shapes, and I place them down and then I place plants on top of it, and it's really simple, but I think it looks really good. But here I'm just finishing the back. So I built the front and I had the idea of what the front was going to look like, and I got it completely how I wanted it, and then I came around to the back and I was like, oh, now what do I do with the back? It did take me a while to figure this out. I also want to talk about how I'm actually filming this. So I know with a lot of speed builds, the creator will build the kind of shell first, get an idea of what they want, and then delete it and rebuild it in like a nice simple way. So obviously I haven't done this with this build. I've just kind of recorded myself building it naturally and just messing around with things as I want to. So I have tried to edit out anything where I'm just kind of sitting there for a long time scrolling through the menu or messing around with a roof for like 10 minutes. But now we're on to landscaping, and here you can see the objects that I've placed down, and I'm just plonking the plants on top, and you can just see it just makes it so simple and so easy, and it also gives you a line to follow, because I do find that I like to outline my plants with stones or rocks or something, so this just makes it so much more simple and so much quicker. And I've used these ones really flat to the ground, but when I go out the back I do raise these up a little bit, and they have like a brick outline and it actually looks really pretty. But the back garden is actually very similar to the front, so I haven't landscaped too much out the back, and I have left some grass area because I do put my builds on TikTok, and a lot of people have shouted at me about not leaving any grass, especially when I have animals. So if I've put like cat food bowls or dog food bowls down in the house and then I don't leave any grass outside, people get really annoyed. I've had a lot of comments, especially on my modern build houses, because I tend to make the gardens quite like wooden and not a lot of grass space. There's a pool and like there's an outside area for people to sit, but there's not a lot of grass, and people always comment saying, where's the dog gonna poo? And I mean, it is a valid question. I don't know, you're gonna have to take it out for a walk, I guess. So we're about to move around to the back of the house now, and in the garden I've got a pool, I've got some kind of gardening planters, I've got some kids equipment, so I've got monkey bars, and I've also got a sand pit. So this house doesn't actually have any island living items in it, so you don't need island living to download it. But if you do have island living, your children can play in the sand pit and they can build sand castles, and it's just really sweet. But while we're talking about game packs, I'll talk about the ones I've used for this. So I used limited packs in this build. I didn't want to go mad and use loads of stuff packs and loads of game packs. So I've used 6 in total. I've used Discover University, Seasons, Cats and Dogs, City Living, Get Together and My Wedding Stories. So I know a lot of you probably won't have My Wedding Stories because when it first came out it was really buggy. I mean, I've only actually played the gameplay once with My Wedding Stories, and the wedding didn't even happen, the bride wouldn't even go down the aisle. So I mean, it wasn't a great start, but I think they said that they fixed it. Whether they have or not, I can't confirm because I haven't actually played it. It's kind of put me off weddings. But the reason I used it was because of the mum being a florist, so I kind of had the idea that she'd have like her office out in the garden, that she could meet with her clients, and then the room next door is kind of where she makes the wedding bouquets, and I did put quite a lot of wedding bouquets in there, like on the side that she's already made. So I thought that was quite a nice idea, and you'll see me decorate that room in a minute. I'm just kind of messing around with the outside of this garden, sorting the pool out, and then I go over to the grass and kind of sort the children's area out. And I originally placed the sand pit, which you'll see me do in a minute, right by the pool house. And I come back later and I change it because I do put a barbecue next to it, and then I'm like, a barbecue right next to a sand pit where there's going to be children playing is probably not the best idea. So I do have to kind of jiggle things around in the garden before I get it right. You'll also see me rotating the things that I use in the sand pit, and I'm using the tool mod to rotate them. So if you download this build from the gallery, everything will still be in the same position that it's in. You don't actually need the mod to have things rotated the way that I've rotated them. But if you do want to rotate them, if you're on PC and you can download mods, then I really strongly recommend getting the tool mod by Twisted Mexi and watching some of the tutorials that are online, because there's just so much to learn about the mod and there's so many different things you can do with it. And once you've kind of got the hang of it, because it is a bit overwhelming at first when you first open it up and you're like, oh my god, how does this work? But once you get the hang of it, it is just so good, and you can do so many things with it that you wouldn't have even thought of doing before. So it's a great mod, so if you can get it, I would. But I'll link everything in the description box for you, so if you want to go and check it out, you can. And I think I'm just finishing up the garden now before we go onto the inside. And when we're inside, I've already done the floor plan off camera just because it takes me so long and I mess around with it so much before I get it right. So I've kind of got a few items already in there just so I can size out the rooms and know what's going to fit. I try to make my rooms a lot more of a realistic size now. So when I first started playing The Sims, and this was a long time ago, but probably not so much The Sims 1, because I don't really think I did so much building in The Sims 1. Could you even build in The Sims 1? It was such a long time ago, I don't even know. But definitely in The Sims 3 and The Sims 4, I used to build like massive squares, and inside the squares were just massive rooms, and there'd be like a random double bed, and I only used to put objects down that were usable. So I never used to use any clutter, and I never used to use like paintings on the walls or just anything that wasn't like functional and usable. I never used to put in. So I'd have these big vast open spaces with just like a double bed, and like in the bathroom there'd be a toilet, a sink and a shower, and there'd just be so much space around. So I've definitely worked on my building skills recently to make sure everything's more of a normal size. I have to say that those kind of houses are great for gameplay, just because you never run into any kind of problems with clutter or things in the way. So I do play test my builds, so you shouldn't have any problems in any of my houses. If you do, let me know and I'll fix it. But yeah, so in those houses you haven't got to worry about things being in the way, because there's nothing in the space, so it's just clear open space ready for your Sims to walk through. But kind of like to build more realistically now, so I spend a lot of time on Pinterest looking at houses, looking at house plans, kind of getting a feel for what houses look like and how the plans work on the inside. So yeah, I don't really build any big square boxes anymore, but if you do, then that's great. They're great for gameplay, and I am not one to judge anyone's Sims builds because my previous houses have been interesting. And now we're in the mum's florist room, and you'll just see that I did her like workspace area and put loads of bouquets there from Wedding Stories. And now I'm in the little office section, so I put 2 chairs in front of her desk because I thought that her clients would come and sit there and talk about what they want with their wedding flowers, and I just thought it was a really cute idea. So I'm finishing up the back garden now, and we're about to go inside. So I've already told you the amount of bedrooms and bathrooms this house has got, but I thought I'd quickly talk to you about the layout of the downstairs. So downstairs you've got a separate kitchen, dining room and living room, and then you've got the dad's office, which is at the front of the house, and then at the back of the house, which leads out onto the garden, I think the dining room leads out onto the garden as well, but the parents' bedroom also leads out onto the garden, and it has an ensuite downstairs as well. And I'm pretty sure there's a half a bathroom downstairs as well. Yes, there is. I just went back and double checked. So off the hallway downstairs, there's a half bath, and then upstairs there's a family bathroom, and there's also a Jack and Jill bathroom in between the children's rooms, which I really love. I would really have loved a Jack and Jill bathroom when I was growing up, but I don't really think it's a big thing in the UK. If anyone can let me know, that's great. But I have never seen anyone in the UK with a Jack and Jill bathroom. But here you can see me just decorating the dining room, and I went very neutral on the colour scheme downstairs. It's either a love or a hate thing, I think, with the neutral stuff. You either really like it or you're into colour, and for this house I just kind of wanted to stick to neutral. But you'll see here I've actually blocked the kitchen, so I do the living room and the dining room, and then I'm like, come around to decorate the kitchen, I'm like, oh no, there's no door to get in, so I do move one of those cabinets out of the dining room to make a door to the kitchen. You'll see me use the tool mod quite a lot in the living room because I make a piano. So all the pianos we've got in the game are kind of very grand, and I don't feel like they kind of fit the average house. So you've either got the keyboard from City Living or you've got a grand piano. So I've seen a lot of people do this recently where they kind of make an upright piano, and you can definitely do this in a lot of different styles. So what I've done is I've used a side table, I've turned it around backwards, and then I've stacked two on top of each other, and then I've used these little end tables, sized them down and stacked them on top of each other as well. And then you'll see me mess around with the tool mod because I kind of wanted a little shelf where you put like your music sheets on, and I think like most stand-up pianos kind of have these kind of things on them, so I just thought it'd look more realistic. But it does take me a while to mess around with the tool mod here, and that is one of the things with tools. You kind of get something in your head and then you just spend ages working on it, and it's something like most of the time really insignificant, like these books on this shelf. Like, it doesn't really matter, but it just took me the longest time, and I did really like how it turned out, but probably for the amount of time it took me to do and for the effect, it probably wasn't really worth it. But I just do like these little touches. I'm also going to use the tool mod for the cushions on the sofa. So these are towels and they're from Base Game, and all I do is I rotate them with the tool mod and then I place them on the sofa, and they kind of look like cushions. And you can do this with loads of different objects. So you can actually do it with a type of chair, and then you won't need the tool mod at all. You just size it down and kind of place them inside the sofa and it's still functional. Or there's some pillows that came with some other packs. I think with the kids pack, you know, the campers one, that came with a pillow that you can rotate. And also the new high school pack has a plain white pillow that you can rotate because they use it for pillow fighting, so it's in the live edit menu. Also, the brown cushion that I just placed down was an ottoman from Cats and Dogs, and you can use that as a cushion as well, and it's all still functional. So there's loads of different options for what you could use as cushions, and I do wish we kind of had more sofas that kind of had that built in so we didn't have to mess around with it. But I do like the sofa that came with the paranormal pack. I didn't use it in this build just because I kind of wanted to do limited packs, but that is a really nice sofa. And I actually do like some of the ones we got with the high school pack, and I built this house before the high school pack had came out, so I probably would have used that pack in this build just because I've got a teens room and I've got 2 children in this house as well, so I just feel like it would fit. But yeah, I built this house before it came out, so... Anyway, we're now onto the kitchen, and you'll see here I've got a kind of fridge microwave situation going on over there. So the big thing that covers the fridge is a range hood that I've sized up, and that means that it's completely functional. Your Sims can still go in the fridge and it's not going to affect gameplay at all. And I also put the microwave on an island counter and sized it down and then put it in. And now this used to work, and for some reason it doesn't work anymore, so I actually removed that when I was playtesting and put the microwave on the side somewhere, so it doesn't look like that anymore. But I don't know why that doesn't work anymore. And you'll see me messing around here with these 3 pots. So I feel like in like a house in the UK, we always have a tea, coffee and sugar pot. So I really wanted to kind of recreate that next to like the tea section. So I used a candy bag, and then I used a teapot lid, which is from the My Wedding Stories pack. And I feel like they look quite cute. They look like little cute pots by the coffee maker and things. And I just feel like that came out really nice. I feel like it's quite hard decorating a kitchen, like cluttering it up when you're not using a lot of packs, because a lot of the really nice kitchen items come with packs. So for a kitchen, like Dine Out's really good, and the Cool Kitchen pack, and I didn't use any of those, so I did find it a little bit hard to clutter. But I used a lot of debug items for the shelves, and I do really like how the kitchen came out. So now we're on to the dad's office, and if you remember, the dad's a teacher, so I tried to put in some like teaching elements into this office. But I do have to come back and change the layout because I did forget another door. So the garage is right next to this office, and I realised after I'd kind of started building the office that there was no access from inside the house into the garage, and I feel like that's a little bit inconvenient. So if your Sims would have to walk all the way around the back of the house to get into the garage and then like walk back through the back door, I just feel like that would be a bit awkward. So yeah, so I put a door from the office into the garage. But I'm just decorating and cluttering up the office now, and I use a little chalkboard on the wall, and I just kind of try and add in some things that I just kind of think fit with his career. So I've put those certificates up on the wall above his desk. And we're about to move on to his bedroom. So this is the adult's bedroom, and I kind of made this bedroom quite simple, to be honest. They've got a door out into the back garden and like a bookcase and a bed and a TV and like a mirror, and they've got their own ensuite there, which I didn't actually record me decorating just because it was a really small room and it was pretty simple, so I thought it'd be quite boring to watch, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just cluttering up their space now, so I'd clutter up the bookshelf and then underneath the TV. And I feel like their bedroom hasn't really got a lot of personality, and I think that's because they've kind of got their own separate room. So the dad's got his office and the mum's got her outside space, so their bedroom's kind of pretty neutral. But we're about to move upstairs into the children's bedrooms, and they're kind of more colourful and they've got a bit more personality. So the first bedroom that we decorate is one of the children's bedrooms, and I kind of imagine that she's quite artistic. So I've put in like the children's art table and some like wall hangings of her art, and I just feel like the room is really sweet, and it's really like, it's a really cute room. So in here she's got a desk, and she's got the children's art table, her bed obviously, and wardrobes, and she's also got this scout board which came with seasons. And I've also placed in a toy box, and you'll see me kind of mess around with the front of the toy box, because what I do is I get a blank canvas from Debug and I place it in front of the toy box using the tool mod, and I just feel like it just makes it so much nicer, because I don't like the colour swatches that the toolboxes, why do I keep saying toolboxes? The toy boxes come in. I'm just not a fan, and I always kind of want it to fit with the room, so I do actually use this quite a lot. And you'll just have seen me decorate the Jack and Jill bathroom, which is very pink, but I do really like how that turned out. And now I'm onto the other children's room, which I did in a completely different colour scheme, just because I wanted to mix things up a little bit. I didn't want it to be very samey, and also if I made this bedroom pink, we would have a lot of pink in the upstairs of this house. So now we're onto the teen's bedroom, and I wanted the teen to have an interest in like DJing and music, so I put this DJ set in his room, and I had to mess around with it a little bit just to make sure that it was working when I play tested it, and I've got it in the right place eventually. But I gave him some nice things in his room, like a TV, a laptop, all the kind of things that you'd expect to have in a teenager's bedroom. Obviously I didn't have the high school pack at this point, so this is all using the packs that I previously mentioned. But I do really like how this room turned out, and I did play test it all, so you'll see me here messing around with the DJ kit because I just couldn't get it in the right place. But I'm pretty sure that's where we settled with it in the end, in that corner. So now all I've got left to decorate is the family bathroom upstairs, and it's very simple, to be honest. I've used the bath with a half wall in front of it, and this is completely functional unless you're trying to bath a toddler or a dog, so it doesn't work for those. But if you have got a toddler or a dog, just remove the wall and it will work absolutely fine. But we're at the end of this build now, so if you want to download this house, it's up on the gallery. My ID is Luciaivy, or you can search hashtag Luciaivy if you can't find me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye guys.